Hey guys, Moldran here. It's time for another episode of Game News. Now, Blizzard announced the next Blizzcon, so for 2015, just like any other year, there will be a Blizzcon. It's going to be in November, and the interesting thing is, what is going to be announced at this Blizzcon? Now, I think there's going to be two things to be announced, Diablo 3 expansion plus Warcraft 4. And now let me tell you why I think that. Now first, there's this Blizzard product slate timeline that has been leaked several years ago and has been pretty accurate for most things. And here they say that Diablo 3 X1 is not the only expansion. That Reaper of Souls, which is Diablo 3 X1, is not the only expansion. And if you remember back when Reaper of Souls is still in development, Blizzard always referred to it as like X1, which is pretty much a hint already there's going to be an X2 as well in the future. And what would be a better time to like announce a new Diablo than at this BlizzCon? Yes and no, Gamescom announced, Reaper of Souls actually announced at Gamescom in 2013. But I think this time they're really going to use the BlizzCon because last year there wasn't really much Diablo in BlizzCon. It was kind of like pretty much like left alone, and Diablo fans were really disappointed by that. But I think this year they're going to make up for it and announce a really cool expansion. And that's going to be really great because I think Reaper of Souls was really good to like fix a lot of the core problems of Diablo. A lot of like things that went wrong in the original version of Diablo, so they had to like invest a lot of time to like fix that. But now they can really like put all the focus, put all the emphasis on like creating new content and making the game better. So I'm looking forward to this. Now Warcraft 4 is even better because I know Warcraft has a lot of fans and so on. And why do you think that there is going to be a Warcraft 4? Now you can go to the Blizzard job page here. This is officially on the Blizzard website, and they recruit people, for example, for Hearthstone, Overwatch, World of Warcraft, but also unannounced games and projects. So they're working on something that they haven't announced yet. And for example, if you look at this here, 3D artist, you can see they're looking for a 3D artist that needs to do form, color, lighting for both 2D and 3D art assets. And more importantly is, he needs to understand the Warcraft visual style and passion to put it to the next level. So this could either be like a World of Warcraft 2 or whatever, or it could be simply a Warcraft 4. And this already hints that they are working on Warcraft 4 because Warcraft 3 has also been a 3D game. It was actually the first 3D game that Blizzard ever released, and it was pretty successful. And if you take a look at like Diablo 3 has like the same payment model as Warcraft 1 or Warcraft 2 or whatever. Like pretty much like if you exclude the auction house, you sell the game and you make money from that. And Diablo 3 was a success. Even by just like selling 10 million copies, that like covers the production costs a lot more. And the same thing is gonna happen with Warcraft 4. If they will release Warcraft 4, it's instantly gonna sell 10 million copies, if not even more. And it's gonna be a huge success from that alone. Even if they don't need like a subscription model or anything for that. And it might even like become a little bit of an esport, kind of like Warcraft 3 was back in the days, but we'll see. But other hints why Warcraft 4 is in development is this. Now Jay Wilson, you know, he was working on Diablo 3 for a long time, but he's still a game director at Blizzard. But he's working on a new game that hasn't been announced yet. Now it could be that this has something to do with Overwatch, but I don't think so. Overwatch already has the game director announced, which is Jeff Kaplan, also known as Tigol, and Jay Wilson is probably working on something else. Now why do I think that Jay Wilson is gonna be the game director of Warcraft 4 and not for like another game, like maybe they're working on something even different to that, but why do you think it's going to be Jay Wilson? Well, if you look back in the days, there was like Jay Wilson stepped down in, I think, January 2013. And then Rob Pardo, formerly Chief Creative Officer of Blizzard, it was like one of the highest ranks in Blizzard. He was the guy that like recruited Jay Wilson in 2006, I think. And he said like, yeah, he hired Jay Wilson to head the Diablo project and had the pleasure of working with him. And then he's like defending. He was saying, for example, if you still feel the need to dish out blame, then I prefer you directed at me. He was the executive producer, and he hired Jay and gave him advice. So he was very much like recruiting Jay to like become a new game director for Blizzard games. And he was guiding him first and says, okay, blame me, and so on. Now what happened 1 year later? 1 year later, or after actually like when Jay Wilson stepped down as Diablo game director, he said he's going to work on new things, on new projects in Blizzard. He also says like that Jay is going to have a great career at Blizzard ahead of him. So he's going to work on even more than like just Diablo. And, here, 1 year later, Rob Pardo stepped down for Blizzard. He says he's going to quit the company and start new things, which is perfectly fine. But the thing is, like, who's going to replace him or who is supposed to replace him? And it's probably going to be Jay Wilson. Jay Wilson is supposed to be like one of the big figures in Blizzard in the future. They probably still see it as a success because Diablo 3 sold so many copies, and they think like he's the right man to like guide Warcraft 4. Now, is this a good or bad thing? I think it could be a good thing. I mean, if you take a look at the history of Jay Wilson, he was working before he worked on Diablo, which started in 2006. He was working on Company of Heroes and Warhammer 40k, primarily as senior designer or lead designer. So he was like working on those two games. I didn't play those games, but I did some research about what those games were. Company of Heroes, what do you see? It's a 2006 real-time strategy game. Warhammer 40k is another PC-based real-time strategy game. So he actually has a lot of experience already with RTS games, and Warcraft 4 is exactly an RTS game like that. So maybe he wasn't like the right person for Diablo and didn't really understand like the philosophy or what makes action RPGs fun and successful, but maybe he's gonna do a good job with Warcraft 4. And that's what I wanted to say, and it's probably not a bad thing that he's game director for the new thing for Warcraft 4, and I'm really looking forward to a Warcraft 4 announcement. I'm pretty sure, I would say 95% sure that's gonna happen. I mean, some of you might remember, like those who follow me for a long time, that I predicted like one time at New Year's Eve, a few things, and all of them came true. So maybe this is also gonna be, and I'm pretty hyped for Warcraft 4. Together with Overwatch and Diablo Expansion, it's gonna be a huge BlizzCon. And even though I'm probably not gonna be able to afford it myself to attend it, I'm still looking forward to it. And last thing I want to talk about is Diablo season. Now, Neverlist is posted on the official forums the schedule. Pretty much they're going to end the current season, then launch the patch, and then the next season. And this is huge because this patch actually like improves a lot of content. Now, season 1 to season 2, there were barely any changes in terms of like mechanics or new sets or whatever. But this season is going to have a lot of new builds. Like I'm really looking forward to play World Barb again. But what's interesting here is that A, there's going to be a 2-week warning before the season ends, but B, this thread was actually in the beginning, it was named season 2 ending soon. And then afterwards, after people like said, oh, season's going to end soon, what are we going to do now? They renamed this to end of season announcement updates. But what this still means is the season is probably going to end soon. And I expect the season to end sometime in April already. Now, by in April, A, there's going to be a lot of new content for the game, and it's going to really bring a lot of people back. And B, I think Path of Exile is working on currently Act 4, and I think Act 4 releases somewhere around April as well. And Blizzard's probably going to like try to counter the Path of Exile Act 4 release with this new awesome patch of Diablo. That's just like how Blizzard often works, but again, I think it's good that like both games get additional content. And I'm really looking forward to some refreshing Diablo 3 World Barb action and Act 4 and Path of Exile. Hope you guys enjoyed this week's game news. Let me know your thoughts about what you think about BlizzCon or Path of Exile and Diablo. And thanks for watching. I'll be back.